Swinging a high drive into center field. Hits at the wall. It is gone! Casas does it again. It's gone! It's into the bullpen! This game is tied! This game is tied!
He swings and rips one to center field. It's high, it's deep, it's back, it's gone! Sale winds, he fires. Swing and a miss, strike three, it's over! The Red Sox have won the World Championship!
What's up? Welcome back to Play Tessie. It is episode 194. This is the official Red Sox podcast of WEEI. Before we get going, remember, hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey app. Subscribe, rate 5 stars, leave a comment. Find us on YouTube on the WEEI channel. You can find the Play Tessie playlist there. Has all of our videos or our episodes in video form. Subscribe to WEEI, hit the thumbs up on the videos, and then find us on the socials at Play Tessie everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Here with Sammy. Pat's here too. It's Gordo here. Since we last jumped on the mic, a lot of good. Last time we actually sat in front of these mics, they were coming off yet another loss. 4 losses in a row, but they extended Garrett Crochet. And we went into that. We talked all about that. It kind of turned the vibes around. But in the games, Devers was striking out every time he stepped up to the plate. Team was 1-4. Since then, they've won back-to-back games, and they've extended Kristian Campbell, which is freaking terrific. And if you've watched the games, you know that having that guy under your control for 10 years is massive. But the truth is, it's just crazy how just a game or two or a transaction or two, or in this case, both, can change the emotions of everything. Because, after that Monday game, it wasn't like, and I can only speak for myself. I know there's a lot of people out there that were panicking for the season. I was not panicking for the season. I was definitely down about what was happening in the games. And my mindset was don't keep losing and dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of. We need to see Devers and Casas and Story and even guys like Rafaela and Wong. We need to see these guys that are struggling pick it up. But those losses, how much they hurt, even in the span of a 162 game season, they still hurt. But that's what makes winning a couple of games and winning a series against the Orioles, who those wins are going to be important. Taking 2 out of 3 from the Orioles is important. And, that 1-4 start makes those games, makes that series win. It just makes it feel a little bit better, because the 1-4 start was a quick reminder to everyone that, we like the way the Red Sox look on paper. But as we've seen plenty of times in the last decade, cough, cough, 2011, in 2019, being the best on paper doesn't mean anything. You got to go out there and do it. And dare I say, on the back of Kristian Campbell, maybe I guess on the backs of Kristian Campbell and Garrett Crochet, for a couple of games there, they've done it.
Yeah, what makes it even sweeter is I feel like opening day would be great no matter what. Sorry, the home opener, to be clear. Home opener would be great no matter what as we approach Friday, as you're listening, actually. But 2 wins in a row to kind of stop the panic, the totally unwarranted panic. 5 games out of 162 people. Come on, let's act like we've been here before. But it's really nice that they got 2 wins against the Orioles. Like you said, Gordo, makes it even better. Division opponent. Not to mention, those are 2 of their 3 best starting pitchers. And I know they don't have the greatest staff of all time, but Zach Eflin, never an easy win, especially for a team like the Red Sox. The Red Sox had a lot of bad at-bats, a lot of strikeouts. And you normally, when that happens, the plan would be, and this is very general, get ahead in the count, 1-0. Zach Eflin does not allow that. So I was a little bit worried going into that game against Eflin, just because I could just see him like the Red Sox trying to get ahead in the count, and it backfires. But no, they had a good plan, smart game. And then today, as we record on Thursday, the day game, the matinee versus Charlie Morton, just kind of weird, tons of strikeouts. I believe Morton struck out 10.
I was going to say double digits.
Yeah, for Morton, that's not even accounting for the relievers. But still, Red Sox put up plenty of runs. They won comfortably. So weird start to the season. Very much a that's baseball kind of start to the season. But to bring it around, we're heating up as we head into the home opener. And I cannot wait. As you're listening, today is the day. See you at Fenway.
Guys, we're 5 minutes in right now. We buried the lead. What happened to us? This once great podcast. Rafael Devers got a hit, guys. He got several. Several since the last time we recorded. As of yesterday, so I guess 2 days ago on drop day, he had 3 hits all over 100 million, 100 mile per hour exit velo. He's punching the ball opposite field, up the middle, pulling it. He looks good, figures some stuff out, and yeah, dude. I said today on radio that they kind of got screwed that first game in Baltimore. They played a day game in Texas.
Oh, it's not a Mets pod, bro.
Day game in Texas. Hopped on a flight, landed in Baltimore, had a day game in Baltimore. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. 2 away games, and they looked like it. That first game in Baltimore, which was the last time we kind of touched base and recorded, came out flat until like that 9th inning. The off day did him well. Boys bounce back. Crochet does what Crochet should do. He stops the bleeding or he extends winning streaks. That's what Crochet is going to do for the next 6 years in Boston. 1 out, dealt 8 strong, shutout. Campbell's a monster. Sox are back.
Pat, you talk about that off day. It might have been the single best off day in Red Sox history. Like,
oh yeah,
we
That's
talked
true. Who would it take?
Yeah, no, it's seriously, like, actually think about it. I mean, I don't want to say we'd given, because like definitely after the comments he made to Bradfo, and obviously he knew at the time that this was probably going to get done, but we had an idea that Crochet's deal might get done during the season once he said that it got close. The Campbell thing, I mean, that because we talked a lot about the Crochet thing, like obviously massive for the organization, something that absolutely needed to happen. Extends their window. We went all into it. The Campbell thing, I think people may not, because it's becoming more of a trend to do it. I mean, you saw the Padres extend Jackson Merrill just a year into his career. But basically the Campbell extension in essence is a pre-debut extension. I mean, yes, he got extended five games into his career, but obviously these discussions were ongoing way before that. And the reason you do it is because you lock him in, you get extra years in the prime of his career. Like, he's a 22-year-old rookie, meaning when he hits free agency, he's still going to be in his late 20s. Now the Red Sox got at least 2 of those years, and if he's good, they'll have team options for 2 more. So they'll have him through his age 32 season, aka the most important seasons of his career. The 10 probably best seasons of his career are going to be under contract with the Red Sox. So it's becoming more of a trend that teams are doing it, and it's obvious why. Like, Kristian Campbell, you've seen how good he is. Like, imagine when this guy hits his actual prime and he's still under contract for just a $7.5 million average annual value. Like, these are the types of deals that extend windows. And to be quite frank, like that time period of shit that we basically just finished, and hopefully it's done, and hopefully the door is shut on that. Obviously, they're 3-4, so like, win some games. I guess it's technically maybe not shut yet, but I like to think it's shut. That doesn't happen if they get these types of deals done, low average annual value deals to keep guys like Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi, Xander Bogaerts, it's Eduardo Rodriguez, like some of these guys who, yeah, maybe you don't want them under contract for like 10-year free agent deals, but for an additional 4 years after their rookie deal, like Campbell's got, like, yeah, you'd want that. So this is how you prevent that from happening again 5, 6, 7 years from now.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is like the timing of this Campbell extension is not coincidence. With the new CBA where you get rewarded for kind of getting guys up, winning Rookie of the Year, you get the additional comp pick in the first round. If they agree to an extension before the MLB debut, they do not count toward that kind of rewards program. So him making his debut, getting games in, he can still qualify for that, still get the Red Sox a first-round pick if he wins Rookie of the Year. If they did this, 2 weeks ago, kind of when we were down there that last week of spring training when Crochet talks were, they seemed cold but kind of heating up. If they got Campbell done then, they lose that benefit. Not that they would have kept him down because of it, obviously, but it's just another cherry on top of what is an incredibly team-friendly deal for a guy who ideally is, a multi-time All-Star, your everyday second baseman, and looks every bit of a star right now.
One thing I want to touch on with the Kristian Campbell extension, I saw a narrative kind of building throughout the whole Red Sox sphere, if you want to call it a Red Sox sphere, whatever it is. A lot of people are saying, great deal for the Red Sox, of course. I think we all agree, great deal for the Red Sox. But a lot of people are characterizing it as a fleece, meaning a bad deal for Kristian Campbell. And I reject that whole premise. I think that, take a step back. This kid, and he is a kid, he's 22. Year ago today was in single A. He was this is a interesting prospect. He's got a weird swing, and we don't really know where he's going to play kind of guy. We'll see how he does. Then he's in double A. Oh my God, this kid's cooking. Look at this. The big three might have a big four. Then he's cooking a little bit more, and he started, oh my God, maybe we do have a big four. And slowly but surely he climbs up the ranks, makes it a triple A, plays 19 games there, season ends. Then all through camp, we're talking Kristian Campbell. You cannot miss this kid. He's unbelievable. He does this, he does that. We don't really know where he's going to play, but this kid is friggin' talented. Then the Red Sox start to show you, we like this kid a lot. We're going to give him every opportunity. We talked about that ad nauseum, how we all felt the Red Sox want Kristian Campbell to make the roster. Still, you see guys who have this ascension. Good example would be Scott Kingery, who makes it up to the majors, and he's with Philly, right? Same situation. You're thinking, wow, this kid's good. He's going to be really good for a long time. Phillies thought the same way as the Red Sox. They lock him up. Give him a lot of money. I don't remember the number. Big contract for a kid with that little bit of experience. He falls off a cliff, gone. At the time, people were saying that's a fleece. Scott Kingery got fleeced. He didn't pan out. He's got life-changing generational wealth for the rest of his life. That is done. Kristian Campbell, different situation, but money-wise, he will never have to worry about money ever. He's got $60 million in the bank. So he essentially removed all risk of him falling off a cliff. And no, obviously, we don't think he's going to fall off a cliff, but it's friggin' Major League Baseball. We've seen it happen before. So no, I don't think it's a fleece. I think this is a 22-year-old kid who just made $60 million. He locked himself into a comfortable situation, one where he's been thriving for years in this system. And I just don't like how people are acting as if he got ripped off by the Red Sox. I think that's crazy to me. How do you get, and that's different from saying, yeah, this contract will age well. It'll look like a bargain in 5 years from now? Sure, it will. But he's going to also have the opportunity to hit free agency. Gordo, you mentioned the opt-outs as well. He's going to have the opportunity to get to the open market. He's going to be, 31, 32? 32 years old. So that's, team options. So he's going to have opportunities to hit the open market. This is not it. And by the way, there's a very good chance that he doesn't play out this entire contract and the Red Sox restructure it. That happens all the time too. So don't like calling it a fleece. I think that's completely inaccurate. I think Campbell got the security that any 22-year-old kid, 22 years old, he's got $60 million. I think he got great security. He got a lot of money. He can make more later in his career. Everyone should be happy. Red Sox, Campbell, everyone.
Well, the thing I keep thinking about is look at what has to happen for him to get a legitimate payday. Like let's use a player like Alex Verdugo. I want to use Alex Verdugo for example. If he wanted to sign an extension with the Red Sox, if they pursued an extension after his first year, let's say 2020, he had a great 2020 in the shortened season. He could have made generational wealth after that season. The two sides, I don't know which side didn't want to do it. It seems maybe like the Red Sox never really approached him much about it, but he didn't get an extension. The guy ends up, despite having a couple of really good years in the major leagues, the last 2 years before his free agency were not very good. And particularly the last one was not good. And he had to settle for basically, it was a major league deal, but it's a 1 year, nothing contract, basically because his last year or two before free agency weren't good. For Kristian Campbell maybe not necessarily beat, but for him to make legitimate money on the free agent market, he has to not only be good for these 6 years, but he has to have a good platform year. And that is so much easier said than done. So many things can happen both mentally and physically with players that prevent them from getting to that point. And like you said, Sammy, this is not a guy who for the last several years has been not just dreaming but expecting to be a major league star. Like he was on MLB Network today talking about, even if you're not a highly touted kid, I wasn't a highly touted kid, and like you just got to keep working hard, and the scouts will find you. So just work hard, like because good things happen to me, it can happen to you too. Like it's not a conventional way he got there. So yeah, I mean, if you ask me, and like everyone's gonna look at the situation differently, but it's like, would you rather have $60 million today or have to make league minimum for 3 years and then fight tooth and nail for every contract year to year until you hit free agency and hopefully you put together 6 good years? Like some people would try to cash in fully, and like obviously for a guy like Juan Soto it works, but like for me, if I were in this position, yeah, I would take the $60 million today, like without even a second thought. And yeah,
I think a lot of prospects would. I think a lot of the top prospects in Major League Baseball would take $60 million. And I know people are going to say, what about Jackson Churio? He got $80 million or whatever. And like,
better prospect.
Sure. There's some guys who get more. Yeah, agreed. He was literally number one prospect in the world. Kristian Campbell, I think 10th, 7 through 10 in that range. Yeah. Very good. But it's different from being the number one guy. Don't you think Jackson Holliday would love to have a $60 million contract right now as he's floundering in Major League Baseball? The former number one prospect.
Wait, can I? What? So first of all, if you're the Orioles, would you extend him today, Jackson Holliday?
No.
I think I would.
Well, it's kind of a tough question. If I'm the Orioles and I have a lot of money and I'm running the team, yeah. But if I know the way they operate, no, I'd rather extend Adley or I'd rather extend Westburg.
That's gonna be a ton of money. Like with Jackson Holliday, maybe you have an opportunity to get a guy who's. But whatever. I have a question.
It'd be nice not to have to worry about it, like the Red Sox.
I have a question for you. Who would you rather have 10 years and $60 to $100 million committed to right now? If you could pick Kristian Campbell to have for the next 10 years or Jackson Holliday to have for the next 10 years. And I know it's very easy to look at how they've performed in their big league careers thus far and say it's obviously Campbell. And it's also really easy to look at just a year ago, Jackson Holliday was seen as one of the top prospects of all time. So,
right.
So it actually is a legitimate question. And I'm trying to like remove my fan goggles to see how I would do it, to see how I would answer it.
Holiday's a year younger. Plays a premium spot.
It's tough.
It's hard. I mean, how could I possibly pick Holliday? It's so hard to. And I know. And I just spoke about. Oh yeah, losing 4 out of your first 5 games, big deal, small sample. And now I'm like, well, have you seen Kristian Campbell? That's even just as small of a sample. So, fuck, man, that's a good question. I'd go Campbell, not just because of how well he's played in his short stint. Jackson Holliday's struggles have been pretty alarming. I think that has to factor in. No matter which way you go with this question, you're putting a lot of trust in a small sample. Yep. So I'll go Campbell, especially if I'm the Red Sox. I think that's a much tougher market to play in than Baltimore. Campbell's already doing well. We saw the media he was getting in Fort Myers. So, I'll go Campbell. That is a tough question.
Pat, what about you, Pat?
I think I would still slightly lean Holliday. I'm just a firm, but like, dude, he was so much more than just like a flash in the pan in the minors. Like he was so dominant. Small sample size this year, but dude, he looks really good. Through 5 games, he's got a home run, 2 ribbies, 316 batting average, and a 142 OPS plus. Not to mention the premium position, the year younger. I think I'd still lean Holliday, but the fact that this is even a conversation just speaks volume to how good Kristian Campbell is. I am over the moon about having Kristian Campbell. But if I had to pick, I guess I'd lean Holliday for now. Ask me at the end of the year and I'd have a better idea. But
yeah, I mean, you think to a year ago. I mean, obviously Jackson Holliday a year ago was all the rage. Everyone thought he should make the Orioles. The Orioles sent him down. Turns out they were probably right, definitely right. And Kristian Campbell wasn't even in the Red Sox top 25 to 30 prospects. And here we are debating the two. And I think right now I I lean Campbell just because both of them have ridiculous ceilings, but Campbell's floor seems right now like it's right there, if not better than Holiday's, because Holiday has shown struggles and Campbell, at the professional level has not. And he's just a different guy than he was when he was drafted. But I'll tell you, the one thing that really pushes me over the edge for Campbell is that he doesn't like calling his teammates. He calls them his friends. And
I love that.
I'm sorry. I fucking love that so much. I love that. I love that so much. He's the wholesome king of the Red Sox. Like, we're going to have this guy calling all these guys his friends for 10 years. Like, how cool is that? That's great. Like,
How cool is that?
Hey, come on now. I wonder what he's going to be like when he's 28, Kristian Campbell. Because right now he's got that, like,
innocence,
like boyish charm where he's like, hey, I'm just a kid in Major League Baseball. I'm taking it day by day. But what happens when he's like a fucking grizzled veteran and he's hitting 35 tanks a year and he's like, I've been there and I've done that and I'm Kristian Campbell and I have a beard now and I'm scary and I'm yoked. I'm not wiry anymore. I'm yoked. What will he be like?
The literal definition of happy-go-lucky is 2025 Kristian Campbell. Like, that is the only way you can describe that man.
And he's like shy too. It's like he's quiet, but he's just happy to be here. And it's like usually people that are just happy to be here don't strive for more and aren't ambitious. Like, he's really, really happy to be here and has an appreciation for where he is. But at the same time, it's like he's so eager to learn and to be better than he is. And it's just such a weird combo. You don't see it.
You know what he is? He's an addict. He's like a baseball addict. And he like Bradford was telling us, he kept saying, like, I'm learning this, I'm learning that. And he's just like addicted to getting better at baseball. It's so cool to like how much more public the Red Sox are nowadays compared to like when Pedroia was a rookie in 2006 and 2007. It's so much more like you get so much more behind the scenes. And it's just really cool to see his development. I know it's super early, kind of sort of. I mean, we saw him fly through the minors. I mean, that's a big part of the development. But yeah, just fascinating. I can't even fathom to think what he's going to be like and where he's going to be at in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Well, what I'll tell you, though, is it's been awesome. Like, his at-bats by game 2 of the season became must-watch. Like, every time he's up, you stop what you're doing and you make sure that you watch. And it's one of those things, like, usually guys will do some really cool things. Like, they'll hit a couple homers in a couple days, and then as soon as you realize they're hot and you start watching for it, they stop, they cool down, like right when you think about it. But with Campbell, it's like he hit that homer and that double in, I want to say, no, he hit the home run, and it was the day before the DeGrom game. And you're just, okay, now I'm going to think about it. Now I'm going to think about every time he's up. The next day against DeGrom, he hits the double down the line. It's okay, now I'm really thinking about it. Has a good game in the first game, drives in a run at least. And then it was in the third game today. It's like, okay, now he's really must watch. And he blasts that ball, pull side, drives it, gets out so fast. Like, Sam, you talk about him filling out and not being wired. Like, he hits the ball insanely hard now. Like, wait till he gets, because he's going to get stronger.
You know what Lou said?
He looks like
Lou
rookie
said something,
Jason Tatum right now. You know what
Lou said on the broadcast? On the broadcast today, Thursday as we're recording, Lou brought up a great point. He said that Campbell hits the ball to the opposite field with the same authority that, like, Devers pulls the ball. You know what I mean? Like, he can hit it oppo as if he's a lefty pulling the ball. It's unbelievable. And yeah, he's wiry. He's got a long neck like me. He's part of the long neck gang. Look at a long neck.
I think that the coolest thing with Kristian too, honestly, is he's built like the Casases and the Sotos. He has such a mature eye for a kid.
Yeah,
like,
big time.
He had that one chase in Texas in the dirt late in the game in a full count. He's had 1 or 2 swings that are kind of like in on the hands that he chases a bit. But aside from, like 3 or 4 pitches, I can't think of any other like big chases that he's had. And the other thing too is, dude, there's a reason that the bat is flying out of his hands every other at bat. He swings so hard through the zone, and he's in the zone for so long. Like, if it's in his bat path, whether he's early or late, he's going to touch it. Like it's those two things you can't teach. And then on top of that, great kid. And man, he's here for a decade. That's exciting.
Last thing, real quick. Another note from the Thursday matinee. You guys see Charlie Morton buckle him with that curveball early on in the game?
Yeah.
And then he quickly adjusts and hits a friggin' laser beam home run right after. Like,
crazy.
That's like a veteran. I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable. Great kid.
And he calls his teammates like he doesn't call them his teammates. He calls them his friends.
What? Why haven't you mentioned this?
It's so awesome. I love that. But it's crazy. Like even when they were losing games, like obviously no one was hitting for shit, but Kristian Campbell and Willier, and it's like, okay, like this kid is holding the roster afloat. What I will say is, and there's been 2 games since we last recorded, and the offense has flipped this. I mean, I know they only scored 3 runs in the second game, but there was obviously a lot more going on there. I mean, Trevor Story, 3 hits, including a bomb and I believe a double in there too. It's just so funny when Story hits the ball well. Pay attention for it. Like he hits the ball and then he's like, bing. You know what I mean? Like with the bat, bing. He like hits it well, bing.
It's like there's like a coil in his hand and it only activates when he ropes the ball. Bing.
Yeah. Bing. Bing.
Last night.
Ding, ka-ching.
Boink. All right. What, Pat?
Last night, you could tell Trevor was feeling himself. I was cracking up because he had a great game last night. Last night on drop day being Wednesday night, 3 for 4. You could tell he was feeling it when he tried to stretch that into a double. Dude, that wasn't even close. And I was just cracking up. But when Trevor's on, he's like one of the more exciting players to watch when he's like on a hot streak. Because he's literally an infield Jarren Duran. Like he's just so dynamic. He does everything really well when the bat's going. He's so exciting to watch. But no, I literally like out loud laughed when I saw him peel around first and the throw was already coming into second base.
He let himself. Yeah, he's like, come on, dang, never mind.
Story is going to be such an interesting watch this year, just because like obviously it's pretty clear that with Roman Anthony playing left field. Like when he comes up, obviously Jarren's not going to the bench. It'll be Jarren Duran going to center and Rafaela probably to the bench, or we'll see, or to a utility role. I don't know. Obviously injuries can change that. So it's like pretty clear what the direction is with Roman whenever they want to call him up. With Marcelo, I think people have prematurely but correctly connected it to Story's performance, and certainly before his big game. Like Marcelo, two straight games of the bomb, including a left-on-left black. Like he crushed that ball off a lefty for his first AAA homer. He looks so comfortable. And it's like, okay, when this guy gets called up, and obviously, again, injuries are probably going to make some of these decisions for them. But people are going to, like, obviously, Devers is the DH. Bregman's the third baseman. Campbell's the second baseman. Casas is the first baseman. And then you have Story at short, where when he struggles. And I was getting tons of tweet replies about Meyer should come up and replace Story. And I'm not saying that because long term, I do think that that's the solution. It's just a matter of, is that in the off season, or is it in August, or is it like in April, like these people are saying it should be? Like, obviously you got a glimpse of, the last couple games where it's like, okay, no. Story should have ample opportunity, especially, he looks, honestly, just like the peripherals, bat speed is better. The velocity on his throws is better. Like he looks pretty comfortable out there. I know he still chases, and that's going to be something that needs to be ironed out. But it will be interesting to watch Meyer's performance, because every time he hits a home run, there's going to be people saying call him up, and every time there's people saying call him up, the next question is going to be, okay, for what? And like unless Story performs, like he's going to be the answer to those questions. So it was really good to see him, play with some confidence and have such a good game in that second game. Obviously we saw guys like Bregman, Casas, Devers have good games in the third game, and Devers in the second game too. But those guys' jobs, like there's no superstar prospect barking down their trees. For Story, it feels like a little bit more urgent, so it was good to see it.
I'm trying to think, like, this is going to sound derogatory, but how do you get rid of him if Marcelo Meyer, forces his way up?
Platoon. Because Marcelo has had platoon
can do that.
splits. He's had tough platoon splits in the minor leagues. I agree. Like, Story is not a bench player, but if you wanted to call up Marcelo and play him at shortstop, like who else are you like? There's no one else to bench, and like again, this conversation's premature.
Yeah, someone would have to go. I'm looking at
Pat, what's Pat saying? Pat, what are you saying here? What's the look?
I'm saying what I've been saying for quite a while now. I think when Marcelo's ready, Kristian Campbell goes to left field.
But then where's okay? But Pat, in your lineup that you tweet out, you didn't have Wilyer or Abreu in there, and like what? You can't not play Wilyer.
Traded,
killed,
murdered,
taken off in the golf cart behind.
no, not the golf cart.
And like, I don't know. Like, you have to. I'm not. Wilyer Abreu is a very good player. He won a Gold Glove last year as a rookie. Offensively, he's drawing walks like nobody's business. He's putting the bat on the ball
against lefties.
That was more of like
against lefties.
Yeah, and that was more of like a forecasting of a Wilyer like water finding level kind of thing. But if he's productive, like a smidge more than he was last year, and he's still playing good defense, then yeah, that's when you're getting into the where's Story going conversation. So Wilyer not in the lineup was more forecasting him, not falling off, but like finding his, average.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's again not a knock on Wilyer. I love Wilyer. He is so fun to watch when he's hot. Great defender, great eye this year. He's hitting lefties. But yeah, like I said, if he's producing, then that's when you get into the Marcelo's has to come up. Where's he going? The answer is shortstop.
The truth here is that the best players are going to play. So like we're sitting here guessing which guys are going to because if Wilyer plays like the first 5-6 games of this season, Wilyer obviously he's not getting benched. And if Trevor Story plays for the entire year like he played before that big game, obviously it's going to be him. If Trevor Story plays like the way he did the last couple of games, then obviously Story as one of the leaders of this team playing well, he's not going anywhere. So it's going to be determined. Like injuries are gonna make this call, and if not, performance will make the call. Personally, for me, I think the Roman Anthony call will come sooner, just because. I mean, just generally what we've seen.
Puzzle. Yeah, it's an easier puzzle.
Yeah. I mean, what we've seen, and I get that Rafael is a righty, but I mean, it's Roman Anthony or Rafael. Come on.
What do they do with Yoshida? I kind of forgot about Yoshida.
It's over.
It's over.
No, seriously, it is. If Kristian Campbell playing well and Devers definitely not playing any third base, it's curtains.
So where does he go? You think they DFA him? You think they move him?
I think where this goes, and this is just my guess right now. I'm curious your guys' guesses too. But if I was just having this conversation yesterday. If I had to put a guess on it today, I would say the Red Sox eat a shit ton of that contract and trade him and get a prospect that is not worth a lick. It's basically the equivalent to a DFA. And maybe it's even they DFA him first and then still work out that agreement after. Yeah. Maybe it's something like that. But they've already eliminated the possibility of getting value for him because there's nowhere for him to play.
He's got magic injuries that just generate. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. It stinks because I still believe Yoshida could be a productive major league player. He just, like we've said a million times before, he doesn't do enough. So, sorry to redirect the convo to Yoshida, but
I'm just having a horrible vision where everything for Yoshida, everything works out. Everybody's playing great. There's no room for Masataka Yoshida. There's no room for the Macho Man. So then Craig gets on the phone. Hey, Peter Bendick's down in Miami. You're right near the salary floor. You want a superstar you can market? We'll eat 60% of his contract. And poor Masataka Yoshida and his big, beautiful bleached teeth are wearing his big sunglasses on a yacht down in Miami, just living the life.
That would be great. Good.
I'd be happy for him. And that Marlins team, obviously they're not going to be good this year, but they've got some young talent. They've been exciting so far, and he gets to live in Miami. Gordo's dream, living in friggin' Florida. So, yeah.
It is the dream.
I wish, yeah. Great calves. Good calf muscles.
Yeah.
Good teeth. Good aura.
Can we glaze Crochet a little bit?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Sorry, the pace at which you said that. Yeah, we can glaze Crochet if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good. He's really good. How great did that feel? Like how many? I was thinking about it because like he threw 8 shutout innings, and like I was definitely really happy about it, and like it felt great, and I was excited, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just so happy to have this guy. But I just think like a year ago, if any starter on the Red Sox threw 8 shutout, it would be all we're talking about because oh my fucking god, like Brian Bale went 8 shutout. Holy fucking
shit.
Who it would be?
God. You know who it would be? It would be friggin' Nick Pivetta against like the A's or something.
Yeah.
And we talk ourselves into like this, you know what? Maybe he figured it out. Like he just did this with the Padres too. He had a great start. And everyone's like, maybe he figured it out.
It would lead the show. We are in minute 35 and we hadn't talked about it yet because it's just like this is just what we expect from him.
The past 5 years, the equivalent of what Crochet just did was Tropicana Nick Pivetta. That dude dealt in Tampa Bay. He would always strike out 11 over 7 shutout, something crazy, and people would be like, it would be this huge deal. We would have led the show with it, Gordo, like you said. Oh my God, Nick Pivetta, has he turned a corner? They need to extend him. He's an ace. No, this is fucking another day at the office for Garrett Crochet. Get to know it, get to love it. This is another day of business. That's what he does. Love it. It's here for 6 more years.
It's so funny because like I watched a lot of Garrett Crochet last year just because I had him on my fantasy team, and I was fascinated by the fact that this reliever just like turned into this dominant starter. And like he threw 8 shut. It wasn't as I've seen him more dominant than this. And he threw 8 shut against, and I know they don't have Gunnar Henderson, but also it was a lefty. He threw 8 shut against one of the best offenses in baseball. And it wasn't even his best shit. Like, yeah, it has a chance to get from maybe not a results standpoint, because like 8 scoreless is 8 scoreless. The only way to go up from that is 9 scoreless. But from a process and like how you got there and how it looked, it has a chance to get even better. And I was looking ahead at the schedule. You know who he's facing in 2 starts?
Oh my God! Please say like Colorado,
Toronto.
That's in 1 start. His next start will be Toronto.
In 2 White Sox.
Garrett Crochet against that lineup in a revenge game kind of environment where he's gonna like, who goes into a start against the White Sox like with added motivation? Like, he might strike out 30 and there's 27 outs in the game. Like
0-0 in extras. It's still, yeah, man. I mean, just great to see. You know what it felt like last night? Sorry, bad habit I have of saying last night. Wednesday night, because we are recording on Thursday. Sorry, listeners. You know what it felt like on Wednesday night? It felt like Cora and Crochet's agent and Bailey, everyone around him were like, all right, we are officially, entirely taking off the training wheels. Go do your thing. And he just let it eat. He was, and like you said, Gordo, not even his best stuff. That was very good, but not great Crochet. And he still went 8 shut. Struck out 8 over 8 innings. His strikeout rate is over 13. So that would be a 9 per 9 strikeout rate. So I wouldn't go as far as saying not even close to his best stuff, but his best stuff is, you'll notice it. We'll see it at some point multiple times this year. And it's scary. It is really scary. And one thing I noticed, he went to that changeup way more in the start against Baltimore. And when that changeup, he called it his get right pitch today, Wednesday. Yeah. He did it again. Thursday, as we record, he called it his get right pitch. When he's not feeling right, he goes to the changeup and was working on Wednesday night. So just a pleasure to watch, and watching it without the added anxiety as a fan, without the added anxiety of like, oh, what if he hits the open market? What if they don't extend? What if they trade him? Imagine that. So much better. So yeah, couldn't be happier. My white whale.
The other thing too is like Crochet right now, we have not felt this way about a pitcher with so much certainty than like 2017 to 19 Chris Sale. Like, that's just what it is. Like, he is that good. Like, I get the track records one season, that was very good, cut short by an innings limit. It is that good. Like, his first start, he's probably 60%, and he was still very effective against a good Rangers lineup. 5 innings, 2 earned. Had some, I forget how many strikeouts. I think it was 4 or 5. Next game against Baltimore, another co-favorite in the American League. Probably, 85% of his best. 8 over 8 shutout innings.
Yeah.
Like, his 100% is like what Sale did to Colorado in 19. Like, he has that ceiling to go and strike out legitimately like 16 to 18 guys when he's on. We haven't even seen it yet. He's nasty.
And
It's
by
so
the way,
exciting.
How much better is he with that great defense behind him, that great infield defense? And not to dump on Rafael Devers too much, but there were 2 or 3 plays that Wednesday night game where I was thinking, I don't know if they turn that double play, or that might get thrown into the 10th row or something like that.
Yeah.
So just saying, having Bregman out there, Campbell at second is really nice too. Story, we know how good Story is. I maintain, I think Costas is going to be a good first baseman defensively. He's so big. He's a big target, at least. I love the infield defense. Another thing as a fan, just not having that anxiety of Kike Hernandez at short or Rafi at third, shit like that. Beautiful.
The double play on Wednesday when Bregman was playing in for a potential bunt. Quick one hopper, backhand stab, just jump
Great
pivot, turn the double play. Like, they're not making that play any of the last like 6 years.
No.
The other thing, last thing,
Gordo's gonna die on this hill.
Oh, come on. He made like no errors last year. So he's fine.
Last thing on Crochet. I think his cutter is like a top 5 pitch in baseball. That thing having that much horizontal break coming in at like mid to high 90s, moving like a slider is insane, dude. And then he also has the changeup, the sinker, and the sweeper to go with it. He could throw his fastball and cutter and throw like 5 shot with like 5 strikeouts. His repertoire is insane, dude. It's so good.
Last thing on Crochet. The 8 innings thing. So it's the first time he's gone 8 innings since college. And, a lot of people keep talking. And, like, even now that he's extended, you'll still hear people be like, he's unproven. So, like, that may be a detractor. Like, oh, my God, like, this could go badly because he's unproven. To me, you see the stuff. You've seen it late in games too, and you've seen it up to 150 innings. I want the guy who hasn't gone 8 innings a ton. I want the guy who doesn't have wear and tear on that arm. Like, everyone's like, what you're getting in Burns and Fried if you'd sign. No, you don't. You see it all the time, especially with pitchers. These guys sign in their 30s and then their arms wear down. They lose velocity. So, sometimes they get hurt. Like, they're just not the same guys as they were in the first 6 years of their career leading up to that. With Crochet, this is who you like. His arm is fresh. It's ready to go for hopefully more than the 6 years with the Red. Like, he's not going to wear down in these 6 years. Maybe he'll get hurt. Like, Tommy John can happen at any time, but it's not like he's going to like lose velocity and wear down because there's just not a lot of mileage there. So, like, this is the first 8 inning start of hopefully several that we're going to see for this guy. And then on the other end of that, on the third game of the series was Tanner Houck, who, I mean, obviously the last spring training game is an easy barometer to improve upon. Like, what was it, 10 runs or was it 12? Something, it was 10, 11, 12
I think
runs.
it was 11. I think it was 11.
So
Quite a few.
Yeah. So the first start of the season was 5 2/3, 4 runs, but it didn't look. I honestly thought he might have even looked better in the second start. They didn't fuck around. They yanked him quickly before the meat of the order could see him a third time. We're kind of back there with Houck right now. Just like before we get to enough said, where are you at with Houck because for me, I truly am sitting here thinking it could go either which way. I don't think he's going to be the guy that he was in the first half last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he falls somewhere in the middle of first half and second half. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it completely fell off the wagon and he's just not the same dude for a while.
Yeah, so the first start against Texas, he did not have his stuff at all. Like the sweeper wasn't sweeping, the splitter didn't look great, fastball was pretty normal, but just didn't look good and didn't have his command either. That was just a bad start, but he limited the damage. So,
he pitched.
Worse.
He pitched. It's like the stuff wasn't great, but he pitched, and which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, obviously, you want to see him with the stuff that he had in the first half.
Right. Then Thursday versus Baltimore, his sweeper was sweeping, and the splitter looked fucking great. It was just the command. So, kind of a lame non-answer. I agree with you, Gordo. Could go either way, but it is good to see his pitches moving like they did in the first half last year. It's just a matter of command and his delivery. His delivery has a lot of moving parts, and he's a lanky guy. So my guess, I'm not a professional, but I pitched a little bit. Might be a tough delivery to repeat. So if he's able to just bolster the command a little bit, I think he could be an effective number 3 starter. I don't think he's going to be an ace like we saw in the first half of 2024. That was just an absurdly large leap for him to take. Like I've said before, my thing for him, I would like to see him do it again. And even if he took a slight step back, but was still a good Major League Baseball caliber starting pitcher, I'd be fine with that. So I will give you an answer. I'm not super, super worried about Houck. I think he'll bounce back. He's got some easier matchups coming up. But, I think if people are expecting that all-star caliber pitcher we saw in 2024 for the first half, I think they're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think the good thing with Tanner this year is the pressure's kind of off him, right? Like he was kind of the de facto ace last year, had to do the heavy lifting for the staff. Now that Crochet's here, there's not as much pressure on him to be kind of that all-star, produce, all this. But I agree, Gordo. I don't think anyone expects him to get back to what he was in the first half. I believe he went into the break at a 2.1 ERA. He was striking out the world. I don't think he'll be able to replicate that, but I also don't think the wheels are going to completely fall off and he's going to revert back to, 2022 Crochet or Houck. I think all they really need from him, and I think it's what happens, is an ERA 3.8 to 4 in just log innings. Like if he ends the year throwing 160, 165 plus, and he gives you a 3.8 to 4 ERA, that's great. That's all you need. Because ideally, one of, if not both, Buehler and Giolito are kind of bounce back candidates. They're kind of right in the same ERA range. So you have, 2 really good guys at 2 and 3. And then Bayo, you just hope he takes a step forward. Like the staff's in a really good spot where they don't need
that's it. They need someone to be a 2, but it doesn't have to be Houck. There's a few guys that could do it.
Yeah, either they need someone to be a 2 or they can have 3 guys be a 3, which is not a bad thing now that you have an ace. So it's more so the quality and the quantity, more so than it is defined roles. And I'm fairly confident that one of Buehler, Giolito, and Bayo takes a big step forward or a big bounce back and slides in between Houck and Crochet or is neck and neck with Houck. And that's all you need because the depth is so good. The offense can carry you. The bullpen so far has looked really good. But yeah, I think he kind of finds that midpoint between first and second half last year, 3.8 to 4. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, also one thing that's worth noting is I thought he did. I mean, they didn't trust him to do much in the third time through, but I thought he looked okay today. And obviously, the stats don't really show it. I thought he looked okay, and it was against the lineup that the Orioles against right-handed pitching, and Houck, who's definitely had his struggles against left-handed hitting. Like it'll be interesting to see when he faces lineups that maybe can't go to as many lefties. So we'll go to enough said. Last thing before that, though, shout out Sox bullpen, best bullpen ERA in the American League. And specifically, I want to give a shout out to Justin Wilson, who none of us had any freaking idea what he would do. And we had no idea really what the Red Sox were doing when they signed him coming off a not good year. And he's older. But his shit looks great. He's a lefty and he struck out Tyler O'Neill with, I believe, 3 swing and misses off a guy who crushes lefties. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. If he's a guy that you can trust, particularly throwing from the left side, it makes it a lot easier to have Chapman be your closer. So keep an eye on Justin Wilson. 3 straight good outings. He's only allowed 1 base runner. It's a hit on a ground ball down the third baseline. So I've been impressed. Enough said. I'll go first on enough said. Sammy and I went to LL Bean today for a Baseballs and Boring sponsored event. The people there are so nice. The people at LL Bean were great to us, really gracious, really kind. They gifted us these tote bags, and they are made with tarp that has literally been that covered the Fenway Park field, and very cool. Very nice of them. They put, here's the picture. Very cool. That was literally tarp. That was, and I should stop saying literally because I got to get better about that. But it was on the Fenway field, and now it's a bag in my apartment. So shout out to them. They were super nice. The event was great. We did a live show. You can find it on the Baseballs and Boring feed. So shout out to the people at LL Bean for that, and awesome to have them as a Baseballs and Boring sponsor.
Also shout out the Little Words Project for decking out our tote bags with all these like chains and this giant clothespin right here. A lot of cool stuff. Little baseball thing. Very cool. I wish we had 2 more for Pat and for Joe, but unfortunately we don't. And only Gordo and I have them. So Pat and Joe are probably pretty jealous. Again, I feel terrible, but only Gordo and I have these 2 bags. Not Pat and Joe, to be
specifically clear. Not Pat and Joe. They don't have.
But Gordo and I do have them.
We do.
Pat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. My enough said. So my hot take in our season preview was that Carlos Narvaez is going to take over as the starting catcher.
I don't roll my eyes at you saying that. I just know where you're going with this.
Hold on. I think Carlos Narvaez, with his good defense, and, he's 2 hits, 2 games. I think he's going to take over at catcher. Want to get your guys, other than Gordo, want to get your takes.
Your takes other
nickname.
than Gordo.
Other than Gordo. I don't really care what that guy has to say about this. What do you guys think? And Joe, I want to hear what you think. If we called Carlos Narvaez the Narv.
I hate it so much. I know you don't want to hear my take. I hate it. It sounds like you're choking.
I hate to agree with Gordo and knock you down, Sammy, but yes, that's not a good nickname.
Pat, come on, Pat.
I think that nickname is weapons grade stupid.
We're gonna run with it. It's the Narv, baby. The Narv.
Sammy, it sounds like you've got like your Adam's apple is like lodged in your throat. Narv.
No, it sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like a slug, and it's like,
no, wasn't there was a cartoon. There was like a cartoon who had like
the Noid,
something like that, or
you're
who
thinking
went like
the
Noid
Noid
or something like that.
The Noid, right?
No, I'm thinking
I was thinking of something else. He made a noise. I don't even have a clue on that one.
Why would you just call him Karnar?
No, that's too.
Oh yeah. You're right. Because Narv is so sick, dude.
No,
idiot.
The Narv.
Karnarv. I don't hate it.
It's better than the Narv, dude.
It is better.
It's the Narv. It's the Narv.
He has to
Baez.
He has to be good to get the nickname. I don't know. He could become one of those mythical creatures who's like not that good, but we all just love.
You know what, Pat? I kind of like Karnar. What is it, Karnar or Karnarv?
Karnar.
I think Karnar sounds better.
If you say it like a total Chad, it kind of sounds good. Like, let's go, Karnar. But no, it's the Narv.
It is not the Narv. That nickname
Narv.
Did you look on his baseball reference? Does he have a nickname listed?
Yeah, it says the Narv.
No, it does not, dude.
There's no way that this guy has a nickname listed. I'll look it up. Pat, you want to? Pat, you can do your enough said.
No nickname.
No, he doesn't. I just looked too. All right. Anyway, this is gonna go. Maybe not. Sammy maybe knows. Gordo, I'd be willing to bet this goes over your head. Rest in peace, the legend Val Kilmer.
Oh, I saw this, but yeah, I didn't know who he was, but I saw a lot of people posting about it.
Yeah,
I saw it on your Instagram story.
Yeah. Val Kilmer, GOAT. Tombstone, banger. The Doors, banger. Heat, banger. Batman Forever, kind of his dog shit movie, but it was my favorite as a kid, banger. Dude, Top Gun. How did I forget Top Gun? Banger. Yeah,
So you were
dude,
thinking about the Narv.
Yeah, I was not thinking about the Narv, dude. If Joe, if he says that one more time, mute his microphone. This is my enough said. Anyways,
His face is red.
Val Kilmer, rest in peace, my legend. He
Rest in peace.
He was sick a while, and then he has a really good documentary on Prime for anybody who's a fan of Val Kilmer. Kind of like just followed him throughout his career, and then like what he's been up to since and all that. But yeah, rip Val, dude.
Rest in peace. On that note, that's going to do it for episode, what is this, 194 of Play Tessie. Before we wrap, I guess this is a quick enough said. Shout out to the Red Sox social team for using Crochet's quotes from his Play Tessie debut in their Crochet extension announcement video. That was super cool. Did not notice it. Pat had to text it in the group chat like, listen back. So shout out Dr. P.
Oh, dude, that blew my mind. I was at work, saw that video, like blind retweeted, whatever. 8 hours later, I finally got to listen to it. You buffoons had no idea that was our audio.
And I heard it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even watch it. I was like, "Oh, crochet hype video, cool." I've watched so much crochet shit. I was like, I don't need to watch more. There's certainly not going to be a quote from our interview in it. Lesson learned. I'll never miss another Red Sox hype video.
Nope. I watched the Campbell one, fully knowing that we haven't had an interview with Kristian Campbell yet. Somehow, and there wasn't really much of anything. It was just his highlights. There wasn't like quotes or anything. But yeah. No, shout out to them because they use some good shit. You know, that podcast is pretty good that they took that from. So shout out them. Shout out Sox Social.
Maybe they make one about.
Don't mute him. Yep. Thank you, Joe.
Wow.
Continue, Gordo.
I'm unmuted now. What I was going to say is maybe they make one about Richard Fitz.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or the Narv.
No. Okay. That's going to do it for episode 194 of Play Tessie. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Rate 5 stars. Find us on YouTube on WEI's channel. Got the Play Tessie playlist there. Has all of our videos. Subscribe to WEI. Hit the thumbs up on our videos. Find us on the socials at Play Tessie on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. For Sammy, for Pat, for Joe producing, it's Gordo here for episode 194 of Play Tessie. We'll be back in your ears on Monday, or you can catch us on Saturday. Believe we're going to be on the radio probably from like 1 to 3. So check that out too. But till next time we're with you guys. Thanks for tuning into this one. Peace.